I'm sorry to all you Flutter babies out there who are expecting me to start doing Flutter videos. It looks like the crowd has spoken. You can go down in my previous vlog. I asked, should I do KMP? Should I do KMM, Kotlin Multiplatform, Kotlin Multiplatform Mobile, or should I do Flutter? And everybody, almost, probably 95% of people answered KMP or KMM. Now, unfortunately for me, that actually means the far more expensive option. I guess arguably, if I was going to do Flutter, I should still probably have a Mac operating system that I could test my Flutter apps on. But with KMM or KMP, I 100% need a Mac operating system to test my apps on, because I can't even you can't build an Apple app without a Mac operating system. If I was using Flutter, you could have probably done something like, change the emulator to be certain dimensions to kind of mock out what it would be like if you were building an iOS app. But definitely with KMP or KMM, we still have to write native code, right? Like you still have to write two native apps essentially. The only difference is they can share the business logic. I'm honestly pretty happy that people chose KMM and KMP instead of Flutter, because I really do think that is the better option. It's the more reliable, more safe. Yeah, the safer option. Because at the end of the day, you're still building native apps. You're just sharing the business logic. You're still going to build your Android UI, have all your services, have all your fragments or activities or whatever you're going to be using. You're still going to have your iOS side of the world. I don't know anything about iOS, so I can't tell you the equivalent of a fragment or an activity in iOS. I really don't know anything about it yet, but you're still using the native platform. The difference is those two native apps can share business logic. I really think this is the best way to go. You kind of get the best from both worlds. You get all the native fundamental tools that come with both platforms, but you can save time by writing all of the business logic in Kotlin. So yesterday I bit the bullet and I bought a Mac laptop, and that also meant that I had to buy another desk. So yesterday was quite an expensive day for me. I was looking around at laptops on the Apple website, and I ended up buying a refurbished MacBook Pro, and it still cost almost $2,400. This is Canadian, by the way. And then you got to get the Apple Care, which is $300. So at the end of the day, this whole thing cost me, looks like almost $3,000 just to start, making iOS and making, Kotlin multi-platform videos. And I know what probably a lot of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, Mitch, but this new M1 chip exists and you can get, a cheaper computer for that. And never mind just the M1 chip, there's also these, Mac minis that exist. Well, if we go to the Apple website and we take a look at the 13-inch MacBook with the M1 chip, by the time you get my upgraded RAM, get some extra storage, this is going to go up to, I don't know, probably like $2,200, something like that. And then you're dealing with a new chip. So I'm sure the M1 chip is great. It's just that it's new, and anything that's new, generally speaking, there's always problems. A brand new chip, it might be totally fine. It might be the best thing that ever existed, but it also might not be. So for me to take that risk is just not worth it, especially for what I'm going to be using this computer for. It's going to be only for coding. I'm not going to play games on it. I'm not going to do anything. I might record videos. So it's going to be recording videos and code. That is it. I don't need a fancy new chip to do that. The classic Intel processor is going to be perfectly fine. I'm going to get an old, reliable i7, and I know I'm not going to have any problems. And also, when you look at the price savings, it's not even that much. Like I said, by the time I get the upgraded RAM, I get more storage. I'm going to be looking at, $2,300. That's brand new. That's not refurbished, but that's the same price as I paid for this new laptop. And in my opinion, a refurbished MacBook is basically as good as brand new. You get Apple Care, you get the warranty, it's all good. Now you might be thinking, but Mitch, wait, why did you need a laptop if you're only going to be coding at your office? Why didn't you just go take a look at the Mac Mini? Well, same reasons for the M1 chip, obviously, but the price savings arguably is worth it for that, because if you take a look at the pricing for the Mac Mini, it's significantly cheaper. Like we have this option here for only $899, this one for $1,200. This is arguably a much better deal, and it looks like there's actually an Intel version too. You can get it with an i5. So of course this is much cheaper, but you have a desktop computer instead of a laptop computer. Well, let me tell you something. I already got a desktop computer. It is a kick-ass ass desktop computer. This thing is an absolute monster, so I don't want another desktop computer. If there's anything I need out there, it's a laptop. I technically have a Windows laptop, but it's a Windows laptop, and so it's not very good. Windows laptops are generally garbage. The batteries die easily, and I can't play games on them, so why get a Windows laptop? They're garbage for games. They overheat. So having a Mac laptop is probably, like, in terms of laptops, Mac laptops are what you want to buy. You don't want to try and play games on it. It's for working, it's for coding, it's for video recording. So the Mac laptop makes sense for me. And it didn't stop there, because I had to buy another desk. You know, my office is very small. I have a small studio apartment that I work in. I don't live here. I just come here to work, and there's not a lot of space here. It's 400 square feet. So I had to fit another desk somehow in this space. And I think I'll put it sort of right in this area here in front of where my counter is that you can see here. And that'll kind of give me a nice little L area where I can still record in the corner, and I can either, you know, record on the Mac, which will sit in that new space, or record at my old desk with my PC. So I was able to pick up a fairly cheap standing desk. I don't know what kind of quality this is going to end up being, but it was prime, and it only cost, you know, just over $400. So that's a pretty good deal, considering that my current standing desk that I bought this thing, I guess probably 3 years ago from Uplift Desk, and this thing I think this cost me like $1,000, but that was when standing desks were still fairly new. There wasn't like a lot of options out here. You wouldn't have been able to find one on Amazon, so I kind of just had to pay it back then. So yeah, currently the plan for at least the next couple months is I get my Mac on Thursday. It is currently Tuesday, so in a couple days I'll get the Mac. I think the desk comes on Friday, so I'll set all that up. Probably what I'll end up doing is I'll play around with iOS development a little bit to begin with, because I have absolutely zero knowledge of iOS development, and I don't think that jumping into Kotlin Multiplatform, you know, without having any iOS development is necessarily a good idea. I think I need at least, you know, the fundamentals, like build a simple, you know, some kind of a simple app. I don't have to like know anything about caching or networking. I just want to be able to like display something on a screen, because I really don't know anything. So I think getting that done, and then start to play around with Kotlin Multiplatform and building, you know, some cross-platform apps. Well, sorry, not really necessarily cross-platform apps. There are going to be two native apps. They just happen to share the same, you know, business logic. And yes, those of you who are wondering, I didn't forget about my sockets course, my Android sockets course, which is going to include, you know, OK HTTP sockets. It's going to communicate with that open chat website that I built, openchat.xyz. It's going to have, you know, Android services and all that kind of stuff. I didn't forget about that course. I'm just sort of getting distracted again. Much like I got distracted with Jetpack Compose, pretty much the same kind of thing. I'm just getting distracted again. Don't worry, there's still a plan to do this course. Sean, I know you want to see it. Android Dev Notes. I don't actually know your first name. I know you as Android Dev Notes. You've never told me your first name. I know you guys want to see the sockets course, and I'm sure a lot of people want to see the sockets course. I'm still going to do it. Don't worry, it's just getting, you know, pushed back a little farther. Hopefully I'll be able to get to it in the summer. This video is pretty short, so I'll show you kind of some new stuff that I updated with CodingWithMitch.com. First, I changed the enroll kind of section here. So this now has testimonials, podcast, donate, and blog. Enroll used to be in here, but I moved it up to the top here. So enroll, now the UI just kind of changed here along with the pricing. Obviously, a lot of you know my yearly subscription is $340 a year. Monthly is now $40. And this UI has changed like slightly. I changed this so it's kind of more clear kind of what's happening. And you also have to select your country. So due to, you know, for tax reasons, like when I go to pay taxes for my company, it's important to know where the person lives in the world, because that changes the amount of tax that I pay, at least in Canada. I'm sure some countries don't care, but where I live, basically our government wants to know, like, are my customers in Canada? That's pretty much all they want to know, actually. If they are not in Canada, then I don't have to pay certain taxes, but if my customers are in Canada, then I have to pay taxes. So that's why I have this kind of country selector here. It's for me, it's not for you. It's so that when I go to do my taxes, I can say, nope, this person did not come from Canada. And you're probably thinking, well, it would be pretty easy to lie. Like, I'm not doing anything to check actually like what country you come from. And that's kind of the silly thing about it. Like, that's why I didn't originally make it a high priority to put that on my website, because that's what I thought. You know, people could just lie. Like, what's the point? But that's what the government says. They say as long as I have a form where somebody can click their country, I don't even have to verify it. They just have to be able to select their country, and it's all good. If they're not from Canada, I don't pay certain taxes. The other updates that I made to Coding with Mitch were some bugs here and there, but kind of the next big feature would be the transaction history. So everybody has a transaction history. You can go to your account, go to transaction history. I added this invoices feature up here. So up here, you can enter any address. It will automatically save. So there's no save button or anything like that. It'll automatically save. And then down here where you can get your receipts, if I click on this receipt, that address will get built into that receipt. So notice down here, it'll say build to, and then there's that address that I entered in that little gray section back here in the transaction history right here. This feature was a very high demand feature because if you're working at a company, if you're employed as a software developer, maybe not even necessarily as a software developer, if you work in IT and like you're trying to become a programmer, chances are your company will pay for the Coding with Mitch subscription. They just need certain things on the invoice, and the address of the company that you work for is one of those things that they need on the invoice. So now, just giving a heads up to any of you out there, if you guys are working at a company, ask them if they'll pay for the subscription, because they probably will. If you can provide an invoice, which I have those invoices, they'll probably pay for the subscription. So make sure to ask your employer. You might be able to get a free subscription. I also changed a number of other things in this view. So this table is just like much better. Everything's much more clear. Before, there was no like transaction type column here. So all of these transactions, you didn't know if they were voided. Well, I guess you knew if they were voided, but you didn't know like really necessarily if they were charged to your card or they were refunds or they were void transactions. Now it's really clear. Like if it's voided, this is grayed out, plus you get a line through it. If it's a credit, so a refund, you get a credit and it's in green and it shows the total over here. If it's a sale, so if you made that purchase, it's in red and it shows the total here. And there's another one too. I think it's gateway rejected. So like if your card gets rejected, like that right there. If your card gets rejected, it'll say gateway rejected or whatever, and it'll make sure to show like this amount was not charged to your card. So a much more clear way to, look at the transactions. And this is done all with Python. Even the receipt builder, so the invoice builder, this is all a Python library where you can build out a PDF using Python code. Pretty cool. Python's great, probably my favorite programming language, which I'm sure I've said to lots of people before. So lots of exciting stuff to come. We got a little bit of iOS development. We're gonna have Kotlin Multiplatform, mobile, and we're gonna build some, quote unquote, cross-platform apps, even though they're not really cross-platform. You're building two native apps, but you're sharing business logic. And if you want to support me, don't forget, head on over to CodingWithMitch.com, create an account, enroll. That's the best way to support me. If you like this channel, you like these videos, you want to see more, or you want to get access to the content that I have on my website, which is not on YouTube. Every course on my website is available through the subscription, whether it's Jetpack Compose, MVVM, Kotlin, dependency injection, building network layer, retrofit, database caching. I'm just throwing out topics at this point. I'm just saying a bunch of random stuff, but it's all here. It's all in the courses. So go to CodingWithMitch.com and sign up for a subscription and give it a shot. You will not regret it. Lots of people reporting to me that they're getting jobs, they're getting pay raises. This stuff works. It just works. And don't forget your damn engagement. Go down there, hit that like button, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one.